Communist China really is just a dystopian facade. Let me tell you about it through the ongoing Asia Games and Huawei's press conference. Welcome to China Insider, I'm David Zhang. Now, happy Monday. It's very rare for me to want to be happy when I'm covering China because a lot of these topics are depressing and heavy. But today I want to take a lighter tone because these are absolutely hilarious. And it makes me laugh a lot. Now, Communist China fakes everything. We already know that. By this point, you're very well aware of Huawei's new flagship phone, right? The Mate 60 Pro. Allegedly, it's the iPhone killer or the US sanction killer device in China, carrying this powerful Kirin 9000's chip. And you'd expect this to be the center point of the Huawei product launch, right? Of its keynote. Well, you're wrong. Today, the Mate 60 Pro wasn't even announced or mentioned once on stage. It was just like it was non-existent. What? In fact, this highly anticipated press conference was a nothing burger that drew many complaints online. And this guy showed up, Andy Lau. Other than that, it's nothing. Not even a mention of the phone, right? The flagship carrier of their entire brand. Or maybe even the chip, the Kirin 9000. Nothing. Now, this was held in a stadium and watched by millions online. Remember, this whole chip thing, right? It's 7 nanometers. It was hailed by the Chinese state media as a breakthrough, a sign that the firm has overcome US sanctions to domestically produce its first 7 nanometer chip, something that couldn't be imaginable maybe a few years ago. After 2020, right after it had been cut from its access to advanced chip making tools and crippled on its smartphone units. It's a redemption story in China. And just like that, from the secret low-key launch last month to now, it's just nothing. And it's so strange, right? But it almost seems like it makes sense because this whole thing, from the very get-go, it was just a facade. And there was really no breakthrough here. The so-called 5G iPhone rival, the downfall of Apple in China, was just a made-up face or facade or mask, whatever you want to call it. It's to rile up the nationalistic feelings and nothing else. And they did it once again. I guess you could say that Huawei won the hearts of many pro-CCP country-loving boys and girls. I honestly bursted out laughing this morning, scrolling through my new iPhone 15 Pro Max.
These are the best and most capable iPhones we've ever made.
Okay, I'm not trying to be an Apple fanboy here or anything, but I needed to make it make sense. Honestly, I needed an upgrade for a phone. I wasn't going to get the Huawei or the Samsung because I think Apple is doing great. But honestly, though, you can imagine if, pretend like Apple at their worldwide developer conference or the September keynote every year, straight up just ignored the existence of Apple's iPhone and then just went on about the watch, the laptop, the pad, or the TV, whatever else, right? You can argue that, Huawei's domestic support maybe doesn't need another introduction, but this is the CCP's flagship top-notch company that we're talking about here. How could they risk losing the opportunity to be the center of attention by not mentioning this amazing new phone? Which people, by the way, are already complaining about because the software sucks and the hardware seems to be having problems too. And not only that, this actually confirmed my suspicion, which is, as well as many other people's suspicion, that the chip itself, the Kirin 9000S, is nothing but a propaganda piece. It cannot be mass-produced without everyone suffering huge financial losses because you simply can't do a 7 nanometer chip efficiently without a EUV. Now, just like how they hyped up the yuan was going to replace the dollar, it's a nothing burger in the end. It just doesn't make sense. All right, look at this. So a professor in China claimed that once Huawei launched the new device, 2 companies will die, Qualcomm and Apple. Now, Apple's newest launch just outsold Huawei by a million miles, and Qualcomm is doing fine too. So the only people that seems to have problems, maybe their R&D department after watching Huawei's press conference today. They might have ended up in the hospital from laughter, but that's it. Tim Cook is definitely not looking at Huawei. It's hilarious because every single time we talk about things like how China is getting so much better at something, all these pro-CCP channels talking about this explosive new breakthrough from China or that explosive new policy from the CCP. Just think about it, right? Could a regime that murdered 100 million people in the past, still persecutes religions and faith groups, and bans freedom of pretty much everything, can they really come up with something cool? I do have to say, though, that there's always an audience for this type of hype. And that hype will die really, really fast. I drew a lot of comments that day when I made the video of these I don't even know what they are. Just saying that, oh, you don't know China well. There's all these other amazing things. The phone's gonna break you. It's gonna shock you. All of these things. It's so funny to me because of what I know about the CCP and knowing that they cannot innovate whatsoever. And this is not to downplay the intelligence of the Chinese population. They're really smart people, but it's the regime that oversees everything. Now, so that's the first piece of information I couldn't stop laughing about, and then there's even worse stuff happening. But before we get to that, just a public service announcement. I'll be going to the Shen Yun Symphony Orchestra performance at the Lincoln Center in New York on October 22nd. It's a one-day only performance, and it will feature the live orchestra of the world-renowned Shen Yun Performing Arts. Now, it's going to feature music from 5,000 years of Chinese history and civilization. The orchestra will blend instruments from both musical backgrounds and play pieces like the Butterfly Lovers, but most of it is going to be original pieces that it plays during the show. It's going to be a musical journey to an era of wonder and grace, and it seamlessly blends the grandeur of the Western orchestra with the ethereal beauty of Chinese melodies, and it's going to capture a whole range of emotions. So if you have heard of Shen Yun Performing Arts or have been to Shen Yun personally, you definitely don't want to miss this one-day event. But if you haven't, this is the New York-based dance troupe that travels around the world, performs all over the world each year with all new programs, except China, because many of the artists are actually victims of China's persecution. I personally go every year to watch Shen Yun, so this opportunity, I cannot recommend you to go enough if you're in the area, of course. And tickets are on sale right now, so I'll put a link in the description and in the comment so you can check it out. It's one day only, 2 shows, and so if you're in the area, make sure to come and definitely don't want to miss it. And it's at the prestigious Lincoln Center, so I'll see you there. Okay, so we always hear about the whole North Korea Potemkin village type of situation, right? If you ever go to North Korea, I don't know why you would want to go, but if you ever get a tour, they take you to this fake village to pretend like the rest of North Korea is the exact same. It's not, but that's the point. So right now in the Asia Games, which is happening in Hangzhou City in China, the city has been transformed into a $41 billion Potemkin village. And yes, in typical CCP fashion, the political focus of the show is to make Xi Jinping look really, really good. And you see, for some odd reasons, Xi really likes big competition, big sporting events. He himself claims to be a sports fan, doing daily swims, and loves soccer. I don't know anything about that part, but we can't personally verify this passion of his. What we can verify, though, is that he does love a full arena of people watching sports. Okay, so in fact, in 2008, during the Beijing Olympics, he was head of the committee tasked with putting on that grand show for the CCP. And stories I hear was that he personally attended the 3 practices in which that the torchbearer was supposed to do at 3 a.m. in the morning, and he was there in person. Kind of weird, but just shows you how dedicated he is to sporting events. Now, the Associated Press gave him the nickname Chairman of Everything. It's really fitting, actually. Just a few days ago, Xi Jinping met with the International Olympic Committee chief Thomas Bach and claimed to not politicize sports. That's great, except China politicizes everything every single time. Just take a look at these photos. That's soldiers carrying the flag. And the opening ceremony? That's like the reenactment of a communist stage play. It's because the Olympic Games have shaped Xi Jinping's political vision of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. So what exactly did he get for the grand celebration this time? Well, first of all, typical CCP fashion, local police taped windows shut, and then they have the same type of stickers on backpacks and such during security check stops, and all the areas around the event space, it's all been security and nothing else. And of course, we know that the standard here is empty streets, and every 5 meters you have a check stop. And then we have the hilarious empty subways. Of course, except approved people, that is. This photo here just shows some next level irony, somewhere at least, I don't know. Then there's also the opening ceremony, right? This video shows that on the live stream, there's fireworks, but in the real life version, you don't get to see any. No fireworks to be found. So those in person just got a disappointing start. And during the opening ceremony, they even hired a bunch of college students to dance around for hours. These same type of dancing girls were also observed outside in the rain. It's real dedication, I tell ya. And this video here is now making rounds online, going viral over the constant smiles of these 4 Chinese representatives in the background. Take a look at this. And that lady, right, the last one here, she better hold it or she's gonna get right to jail. And this whole thing is just, it's a fake attraction scene for foreign athletes and tourists. It's trying to put on a show. Like this Japanese reporter. He was so stunned, he got to enjoy delicious food in a buffet, all for under 20 yuan in total. And that's like $2.5. And according to various videos, there are actually 268 items on the menu. For the price of 250 or 20 yuan, you can eat it all buffet style. And there's top quality green tea to give the dining guests to drink. It immediately drew so many comments saying that they better introduce this level of food for the rest of the country, or at least in schools. Now, some say that those living at home and reading this should probably pay the check, since those are the money that they use to fund these cheap buffets. Others say that maybe all the city can stop by to eat and stop cooking and just go there, pay 20 yuan, and you can eat such a great buffet. Clearly, the resentment represents the actual feelings of the Chinese people right now. That's another face image projects for the benefit of the CCP. It's not for the people. Now, recently, internet users and parents in particular have been very annoyed, very fed up with the regime because they're feeding kids pre-cooked meals with heavy amounts of toxic preservatives to kids in school. And watch this video if you haven't, or if you want to know more about that topic. But also during the Asia Games, there were these fake North Korean cheerleaders. Now, if you remember, last time during the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, there was the North Korean team of cheerleaders that were furiously clapping in the most in-sync performance. And meanwhile, if you compare that to these cheerleaders, it's clear that they're just hired college students pretending to be the cheerleaders from North Korea. I mean, there's no sense of urgency that if they stop clapping, they will be executed. And of course, any dictators, they all love to make this event really just, it's about the values of projecting communist China and then display China's desired image, which again, according to them, is prosperous, maybe grandiose or powerful, whatever the case may be. But these are definitely what Xi Jinping views as important events, much more than meeting some world leaders. But don't be fooled, that's not really the real China. It's very much a Potemkin village. It's really important that Xi Jinping see this whole event come to completion successfully, and that no minor details would distract or affect it. Just like in 2008, when the Beijing Olympics took place, there were mass arrests of dissidents in Beijing, and they were moving the homeless population out of the city. They were shooting up weather control devices to make sunny skies. And of course, this is all providing the best experience for the foreign visitors and tourists. So for Xi Jinping to claim that these are not political times, he's very much lying. Everything in China is political. In fact, the big spending is also a bonus for the local officials. The Asia Games in Hangzhou is an ultra-luxurious event with a total investment of 300 billion yuan, or about 41 billion US dollars. Like in this video, you will see state-of-the-art installations in public transit, or you see robots roaming the streets, USB ports, and basic utility access everywhere. It's basically transforming the area into a modern-day megatown in order to be, like I said, Potemkin. Now, governments at all levels in the CCP will try to attract investment, so they all try their best effort to bid for the conference to be held there, and then spend all of their money to take the opportunity to upgrade the city, right? The method first, they can gain political achievement. Secondly, it gives them dirty money to put in their own pockets. And thirdly, it also leads to promotions. And so, because Xi Jinping loves these things, right? Who wouldn't want to do it? But nobody knows how long these things can go on, given the time that the economy in China is collapsing and urban investment debt is booming across the country. This is not going to end really well. So this story is not a happy one for the rest of China. It's one where Chinese people were forced to smile upon. But the reality is that nothing is real in China. All right, that's it today for the episode on the face image projects, Huawei, as well as the Potemkin Asia Games in Hangzhou. If you enjoy the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts on the topic today, as well as subscribe to our channel. All right, until next time, I'm David Zhang. This is China Insider. Bye-bye.